Hello world, welcome to A Champion's Online Guide. Today we're going to go over the Inferno, which is a ranged damage dealing character, and it is very, very squishy. Widely regarded as some of the best DPS among archetypes. If you were in one of my alert groups while I was in the level 30s, well, my condolences, because I pretty much died my way to level 40 just because I really don't like this archetype myself. That Kevin Poe fight, super easy if you have 100-foot power. Just simply kite him around some boxes and keep him as far away from you as possible, considering his attacks are only 50 feet, and you'll pretty much win. Nothing really to it. You might need one healing patch, or if you're lucky you'll get like a green orb and you won't have to waste time healing. Yeah, those level 10 alerts, still not too terribly fun. Even if you have someone to carry you, you pretty much are going to feel completely useless because, well, you're going to be using your energy builder all the time. And frankly, even as a freeform, level 10 alerts still not too terribly fun since you're missing an entire super stat. I tried to use rapid recovery while leveling and was not impressed. Frankly, I think those points would have been better spent on well-rounded for just flat health instead of the absolutely pitiful regen that rapid recovery gives you. Other things are picking up a little bit of extra constitution and probably more crit chance than what I have. You should be able to get close to 30% with decent gear, you know, something that's not pure garbage like mine. I chose to focus on Ego because, one, you get damage from it being one of your super stats, and you get damage from it being Ego, and it helps with well-rounded since it scales with your secondary stats. After the Kevin Poe fight, I never bothered with Fire Strike again, considering, well, I have Fireball instead. You could, however, choose to use the buffs and debuffs advantages in Fire Strike for your rotation, but I just go with Fireball. Pros for this build: it definitely has the damage going for it. I could often steal aggro even if I didn't bother turning my form on, and even after I died, which I did quite a bit during my suicide rush from 30 to 40. Another thing that's nice is it has all sorts of debuffs. You have several options for how you do your rotation based on what kinds of buffs or debuffs you want to include. There's not a whole lot of survivability, but you do get pyro plus backdraft. It's fun to knock people over when they're in your face and then, you know, conflag them to death while they're getting up. The choice between Fire Snake and Heat Wave is actually a decent choice. Both of them have good debuffs. I personally went with Fire Snake because it looks cool, although I do like the animation for Heat Wave. Pretty much every power is useful in some way. Even Fire Breath can have its uses because it has an advantage to guarantee clinging flames if you fully maintain it. And the biggest part is Conflag, your main attack, and it comes at level 17. None of this waiting until level 40. You can just spam your way to 40 with it. Of course, you know, if you want to have really good damage, you could rotate buffs and debuffs. Cons for this archetype: well, recovery as a primary superstat is kind of icky. I wasn't too terribly impressed with any of the options, even though the Inferno definitely needs energy, more energy, and lots of energy. But it's overshadowed by pretty much every single other stat as a primary superstat. Another thing is, did I mention this archetype, the squishiest squish to ever squish? It's very squishy. There's pretty much nothing in terms of survivability or damage mitigation in this archetype. You get pyro plus backdraft, and that's about it. I mean, you don't get like Wardicator or anything like that. You don't get anything like Juggernaut or the equivalents in Ego and pre-trees. None of that. No real good defenses or aggro wipes or anything like that. And frankly, every archetype I've tried so far has had energy issues while leveling. You might not think that should be the case with something that uses recovery and endurance, but that's just the way it seems to be. I definitely don't like sitting there forever waiting for my energy builder just so I can do my Fireball and Conflag rotation. Wasn't so bad once I got to 40, but it made leveling very, very boring. Conflag. It actually is a good power. It just has this weird bug that has to do with giant monsters. It's actually a bug with the giant monsters themselves because of where the damage hitbox is. I mean, you can actually select, and it shows in range for your character to use conflag, but if you're flying up above, chances are you're going to use your power, suck up all the energy, but not actually do any damage, because the damage part that actually registers is within 50 feet of basically the giant monster's feet. So if you're at their head and 50 feet away from the head, even though you can select them, it looks like you're in range, you're probably not going to do any damage. And it's actually a problem with several other similar powers. Overall, the Inferno is great for damage. It's great for doing more damage with its buffs and debuffs, and you can essentially burn the whole world on your way to 40, and then burn even more once you reach 40. Once you start hitting alerts though, I would really recommend you dual queue with a friend that's either a tank or a healer. Otherwise you're going to spend a lot of time dead, or a lot of time having to block and sit there and be like, please take the aggro off me. I don't like being punched in the face. Great for what it does. It does the damage part pretty good. Not so great if you want to be able to live through that damage.